Hello and welcome to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your producer Jeremiah Long, and joining me to talk about a NFL draft pick from Oklahoma State. He's an offensive tackle. His name is Teven Jenkins. It's the man himself, Logan Landers. How's it going, Mr. Landers?
What's going on, Jeremiah? Hope you had a marvelous Valentine's Day, as well as everyone out there watching us live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Hey, I'm doing great, man. Had a good day yesterday, and I'm ready to talk football with you. As always, on Mondays, do some amazing draft profiles like we always kill it.
Absolutely. Well, without further ado, we have an offensive tackle, which we always have plenty to talk about of offensive tackles because they're so strong, they're so burly, they got so much going on. So tell us more, like when it comes to Oklahoma State, Teven Jenkins, and the NFL draft, what do we see happening?
Yeah, so Teven Jenkins is a big man, of course, like the majority of these linemen are 6'6", 320 pounds. Got a lot of muscle frame to him. And there's a lot to like about this young man coming from the Cowboys at Oklahoma State. Now, look, it's real important, Jeremiah, that for the NFL teams, they have to have a really good offensive line to get to the Super Bowl, get protection, and protect their quarterbacks, their running backs. I mean, we saw with the Super Bowl, that was one of the key factors in the win for that game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Mm-hmm. Tom Brady barely got any pressure on him, and they ended up winning that game. Meanwhile, Patrick Mahomes had to run for his life seemingly every single play, and that was one of the factors that cost them that game. So I think now more than the last couple of years, honestly, I think the offensive line is going to be a key part for this draft because I'm sure all the draft scouts, all the GMs saw just how crucial the offensive line played a part in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl win. So we'll have to see how many offensive linemen go, how many they get picked this year. And I think it's going to be a good amount because it's a crucial part. And it's tough to have a stacked offensive line. You can always have, one or two guys maybe who are absolute studs who aren't going to give up any sacks, barely get any pressures on them. But it's key. It's crucial if you have a really good offensive line who can go out there every single week and protect your quarterback, protect your running back, any given down. And I think that Teven Jenkins has the ability to do that. So he was in his senior year. He played with Oklahoma State, coming out of Topeka, Kansas. So helping out the guys out there. So the thing that I like about him, with a lot of offensive linemen, it's crucial that you can get into the second zone, right? So I know our guy Kevin Jones always talked about, it's good to get that first initial block, right? But when you're doing pass blocks, when you're doing run blocks, it's good if you want to move him ahead. That way you can clear out some space and get some gaps going for your running back per se. And it just helps because it helps create opportunities, helps create space, and helps create yards most importantly. We know we all love yards here on 100 Yards of Football. So that's one thing I like about the young man. He's able to get into that second zone. He's also got a good amount of strength to him. He's a big kid, and he's only going to get stronger. We know this. It's gonna be good to see. And like I always tell you on Mondays, Jeremiah, sometimes it's better if we don't hear the names of offensive linemen called. That's usually mean they're doing their job.
That's right.
So he's still really young. He's 22. He's about to be 23 in about 2 weeks or so. His birthday is on March 3rd. So he's still got a lot of time to develop going into the NFL. And, sometimes whenever you get – usually on the offensive side of the ball, like primarily for quarterbacks, running backs, et cetera, you like to go a little bit younger. You like to get the freshman or the sophomore. But usually with offensive linemen, sometimes it's better to get guys who are more experienced, who have more games under their belt, because they know what they're going to have to take on in the NFL. It just helps out their mental preparation. They've seen more reps. They've seen a lot of good players. So I think that the 8, because whenever people see, it's like, oh man, he's 23, they're drafting him. He's going to be a little bit older. It's like, yeah, I mean, if you're like a quarterback or something else like that, like I just said, I could kind of see that, that warning flag. Mm-hmm. But with offensive linemen, we typically see that, even if they do get a little bit older into their 30s and some odd, into their mid-30s, they can still produce at a high level. They don't have to go out there and sling the ball around for thousands of yards per season. They just gotta have enough muscle, have enough speed and agility, because that's also a really good thing I like about Teven Jenkins. He's got good footwork, and that's real important. You got to have really good footwork on the offensive line. I know it's kind of weird to see. It's like you like to have footwork on the offensive line, you're just holding somebody, but no, you have to, because you could trip anytime, honestly, because you got a big 270-pound man running at you, and you could just fall over. But he's got really good footwork. He's able to plant his feet into the ground, hold on to the guy, trying to get to the quarterback. And he's really able to help create space, which is a key in any offensive line. So Teven Jenkins, he's got basically everything you can look for in an offensive lineman. He's got the power, of course. He's got speed. He's got agility as well. He's got footwork. He's got all the tools, I think. And there's a lot of teams that really need a good offensive line to help boost their team and get some more wins. It's a crucial part, like I said. It's going to be interesting to see where he might go. I mean, usually, I like to go with 3 teams who I think might go with offensive line. So there are a few that I have in mind here, Jeremiah. The first one, obviously, Cincinnati Bengals. They do have an early pick. I don't think they're going to go with Teven Jenkins, but I do think that they could get him in a later round, or they could get him later in the first round if they decide to go that route. They need help the most, I think, just because they have Joe Burrow, who we talked about a lot here on the show back when he was with LSU, won the Heisman, won the national championship. Unfortunately, had that leg injury this year because didn't have a good offensive line.
Right.
So that's always the team I look for first whenever I see that it's like, oh, yeah, the offensive line, definitely the Bengals. The next one I got also, Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens do need a little bit of help. Now, they already have a pretty good looking offensive line, but they have a few guys coming up in free agency. So we'll have to see. You got Lamar Jackson, one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the NFL. And that you got to protect your franchise right there. So that's my second team. So I got the Bengals, I got the Ravens, and the next team I'm going to go with, the Chicago Bears. Look, the Bears, their quarterback situations, we don't know what they're going to go with. It's a question. It's a mystery. We don't know. But whoever they get, if they keep Mitchell Trubisky, if they go with someone else, if they sign someone for agency, if they draft somebody, it kind of remains to be seen because, Trubisky, he's had a very much of a roller coaster type of NFL career so far. Mm-hmm. And, you can put some of that on him or you can put some of that on he got a lot of pressure because the offensive line wasn't able to, help give him enough time. So those are the 3 teams I think that might go with Teven Jenkins. You got the Bengals, you got the Ravens, and then you got the Bears. So we'll have to see where this young man ends up. I do like Teven Jenkins a lot. Very good offensive lineman. One of the best ones going to be coming out of this draft, honestly. So we'll have to see where he goes. I'm looking forward to seeing how many pancakes he can get because that's always a good stat to look at with offensive linemen. And see how he can produce for hopefully a winner in the NFL.
Definitely. So everybody watching, make sure you tell us in the comments what you think. Do you think, and do you agree with Mr. Landers that either the Cincinnati Bengals, the Baltimore Ravens, or even the Chicago Bears might draft Mr. Jenkins? So I'm wondering that myself. Could it even be a different team? If you think it could be a different team, make sure you just drop it in the comments, either on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, over on our website, or even where our podcast is at. I'm pretty sure there's some way to send us a comment or send us a note even from there. So make sure that you do that. And everyone who's listening right now or watching, make sure that you join us over on our podcast, 100 Yards of Football. We're on Spotify. We're also on Apple Podcasts. And we're pretty much anywhere that you want to listen to your podcasts. We're even on all your Google Home devices and stuff like that. So just go up to your device and say, hey, Google, or hey, Alexa, or hey, Siri, and just say, I want to listen to 100 Yards of Football. And it'll pop right up. Oh, I even just did it accidentally just now. Which happens sometimes in my house. So for the entire team here at 100 Yards of Football, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you leave a comment. I am Jeremiah Long, the producer, and I've been joined here, as always, to talk about our draft profiles with the host himself, Logan Landers. And we've been talking about Teven Jenkins, the Oklahoma State offensive tackle, who is definitely going to go to the draft. And we're just waiting to see exactly where he's going to land. So for the entire team here at 100 Yards of Football, I'm Jeremiah, and this is Mr. Logan Landers, and we'll see you just a little bit later.